So everyone talks about gratitude, 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 and, make a list of 10 things or 100 things, or throughout the day, think of things that you're grateful for. And I love that, but we're going to take it a little deeper. I'm going to be reading a few lines and then talking about what they mean from the Spiritual Laws of Life by Harold Klemp. Abundance flourishes in a grateful heart. Gratitude is the secret of love. How many people have you heard of who have like a ton of things, let's say money or physical things that they have, but they're quite miserable? Seriously quite miserable. Could be that they're just not grateful, and someone who has a lot less might be so grateful that they're just so grateful for every little thing. And then actually what happens is their abundance does inevitably increase because of that gratitude. It's a side effect. Greatest of God's laws is the law of divine love, which I have a video about, actually several. It's like a 4-part video, I'm pretty sure, 3 or 4 parts. You can check it out in my playlist. So when you have divine love, you want to serve. You want to be a conduit, a vehicle, a vessel that is used for spreading more divine love. It's really how it works. You're just so grateful to be able to even be used in that way. And honestly, when you do nice things for someone, it really feels good. Now, again, addendum. Don't be a doormat for ungrateful people who will use you, abuse you, and throw you to the curb. But my sunshine was so sweet. My son, we went out the other day and there was an elderly couple and we held the door for them, and they were, really taking a long time, and he just stood there so stoically, he felt so good after it. He said to me, that felt so nice to help them. It really does. It's like little things like that. So we serve God and life out of gratitude. Why? For the blessings we have received. We are actually very blessed to even be in a physical body. We are soul, and as soul, we are given the opportunity to exist and enjoy this beautiful life we've been given, but also to become better. So if someone doesn't believe in you, they're not going to put you in school, right? Let's say, there's someone who's just absolutely not going to be able to handle school. They're not going to go to college because this school doesn't believe in them. They can't get the right grades. They didn't have what it would take to get in anyway, and that's okay. So they go do something else. But the point is, God believes in us so much that we are given the chance to grow, okay? If you can learn to be grateful for the things that the Holy Spirit, or Ek, or energy of God, brings to you every day, you will have gained something that many other people have not found. So finding ways to be grateful for what you have is like putting you above and beyond, truly. Acknowledgement is done through gratitude, which keeps our hearts open to Ek, or spirit. When gratitude is lost, the result is spiritual poverty. I'm telling you, when you are grateful, like the skies just expand and things just shine in and pour down. It's like changes everything. Gratitude unseals fountains of creativity because a grateful person is relaxed and they have faith that everything is going their way, even if they can't see what's next. It's just kind of like, okay, I'll figure it out when I'll be told what to do next, right? So enmeshed with spirit that you just can relax and know that it's all working out for your highest good and for others, especially if you've offered yourself as a vehicle for the divine. There are some people who are happy under the most severe conditions and physical hardships you can imagine. They are happy even when they have no food, no shelter. That's incredible. Yet, in our affluent society, there are people who are unhappy although they can have anything they want. Okay? With every material thing in hand, they blame others for what they don't have. Probably it's because they haven't yet shown gratitude for what God has given them. So it's like the person who thinks they're going to be happy once they get the newest whatever iPhone or something, then they get it, they have a new toy to play with for a few weeks or months or whatever, and then the toy becomes old, and then they want to discard that toy too for a new one. They're never satisfied. Ungrateful people can never be happy. they can never be generous because their world begins and ends within themselves. It's a totally self-centered world. To grow spiritually, you have to somehow get to be a person with your intention and attention on God, on love. Then you'll find the great things in the little things. Like I said the other day, you could just smell a flower or look at it, and that can be just a beautiful moment. It's really true. Life will be more rewarding when we learn the secret of gratitude. The window of gratitude opens to us the heavens of God. So it's not a person who is ungrateful who will be advancing, basically. You have to have gratitude each step of the way, genuine gratitude, okay? I had an out-of-body experience. I guess I'm going here now. So for many years, I have had lucid dreams and other strange phenomena. But for a long time, I thought I wanted to experience what certain other people have had happen with them and different masters can do, right? Where they consciously, whilst awake, have their soul leave their body, which is exactly what happens when you're sleeping, okay? So I have been, for like 4 years, I was like, putting my thought there once in a while because I just wanted to see what it felt like, to be honest. And I actually had the experience. And the funniest thing is that I believe that gratitude had something to do with it. So if anyone who is interested, this is what happened. So I was like awake in my bed and I saw above my head what looked like a gold orb, which kind of started to turn into the sketch of like what looked like a little fairy. Now, I don't know if there was a fairy there, okay? All I'm saying is that I believe that when the higher spiritual beings want us to have an experience, they have to use something that will help us not have fear, because you cannot have those experiences in a fear vibe. So if I were to just have raised out of my body without, like this little fairy in front of me, which made me like feel so relaxed, my soul would not have raised out of my body consciously. So I'm like, ooh, a fairy. Follow the fairy. So I literally felt my body vibrate. And then what looked like, I guess you could say it was like what a ghost would look like, which I have seen a few times in my life. A few times, honestly. Okay. So I could see from my eyes, like lifting out of my body, like a white, ethereal, like translucent wispiness, okay? My body was shaking, and then I lifted out of it, and all I could think was, oh, it's Tinkerbell. You can't make this stuff up. So I lift up higher, and the first thing out of my mouth was, thank you, Mahanta. Thank you so much, because I do speak with the current living Eckmaster, and that's eckankar.org if you ever want to check it out. There's even online book discussions, which are fascinating every month, that you can check out. But so I'm like, thank you. So this is the tie-in to gratitude, which is why I'm talking about this now. So I lifted, and then the next thing I thought is, first I thought, I hope, I'll tell you the truth. I thought, well, this made it a little personal, but I said, I hope I have clothes on as I lift out of my body, because when you do travel, it's like, what are you sleeping in? I hope I'm covered enough, But then I thought, why is it that the ceiling looks different? Like as I lifted higher, I was almost right at the ceiling. And the ceiling looked like it was in a state of decay. Weird, right? So the next thing you know, I thought, ooh, I want to go through the walls. And then all of a sudden, they pulled me back to the left, and I entered, and I floated down gently and entered the left side of my physical body. And I saw fog and mist on the ground. And then I was back in my body. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So there's where the gratitude ties in. So I was so grateful for that experience to actually know that, yes, I can have waking soul experiences in the dreams, but this was truly lucid, like awake fully. So I'm like, okay, this stuff is real. So it happened. So yeah, it was just an incredible experience. But I think that, well, I was grateful. So I think that got me there on some level. Now, when I was unsure later about why did the ceiling, first of all, my ceiling is perfectly painted, okay? So I'm like, why did it look like it was disintegrating? And then on my YouTube feed, there was Harold Klemp, the current living Eckmaster, in a video that came up talking about out of body and how when you actually do soul travel, like awake, that things look very different when you're not in your body, because the physical world that we're inhabiting right now is actually disintegrating before your eyes. Like, you don't see it, but actually everything's in a state of disintegration, including our bodies. Oh my gosh. And you can see it that way. It looks that way. Then he also said that when you walk through a wall, for instance, I haven't gotten there yet, but if you do, and you have to have morals, you don't just go anywhere. I wouldn't go anywhere where someone else is not cool, So I don't think you can actually do stuff if you try to do bad stuff like that, I think it's going to be stopped. But when I wanted to go through one of the walls, I immediately went back to my body. And I think it's because in that video also, he talks about how the walls, insides of the walls would freak you out. So I'm thinking, oh, he spared me, because had I gone through the walls and they were like, if there was like anything weird in there, I might have been like, ooh, I never want to soul travel again. So I'm telling you guys, this is really real. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I feel like we need to understand who we are. We are soul, and it's not like evil. It is just our nature. You understand? It's our nature to be able to do these things. But because that information is not talked about, people have been afraid to talk about it because they've been so condemned. Think about Salem, right? I don't call myself a witch. I'm not a witch. I don't do spells. I don't do any of that. But what I just told you would have been considered an evil witchcraft, and it's not. Or picking herbs would have been conceived of as evil witchcraft, and it's not. There's nothing wrong with utilizing your natural gifts if you can soul travel or do, consciously out of body, or lucid dreaming, or see auras or orbs, or, talk with ghosts once in a while. Like, I'm glad that they actually have that. It's a cute little show called Ghosts on CBS, actually. I really like that because that is really real, guys. So I feel like it's kind of my mission on some level. At this point, it's kind of been made aware that I'm supposed to share this stuff because there's other people out there, and you guys don't shame yourself. I did for years. I didn't want to talk about it. I was like living in fear almost. Well, definitely fear. I was like, I shouldn't talk about this. It's weird. But it's actually real. Okay? I mean, so is reincarnation. And it's okay if you don't yet believe that, if you're still watching to this point and you're like, what? But then there must be a part of you, a little itty bitty part of you that maybe remembers something, or maybe has had some dreams that feel so real to you. You're like, oh my gosh, or maybe you have a relative who saw, your deceased grandmother or something like that. Like, this stuff is real, and everyone can cultivate this, but it takes practice. And I really feel like when I said thank you Mahanta, I feel like the gratitude was genuine. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Then I'm like, why is the wall peeling? And thankfully they stopped me, because if I went through a wall and saw like spiders and cobwebs and walked through that stuff, I'd probably be totally freaked out. But I know this is far out there, and that's okay. It's my experience, and I know I'm not the only one. So you guys, if you've had an experience that's similar, please share it below. Like, let's be brave together and share these things. So gratitude, gratitude, gratitude for every little thing. Talk to your spirit guides, also known as Eckmasters to me. Actually, the Mahantas or angels, talk to Jesus, Mohammed, Buddha, Krishna, Vishnu, Prajapati, etc., Shiva, whoever. I told you the other day, Alibaba. I don't even know who that is. It wasn't, oh, that was like from Aladdin. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'll tell you another story. I was at the Eckankar Worldwide, and I think this was last year. There's so many amazing, there's so many amazing things that happen every year that I go. They're magical. So I was in the bookstore, of course, and there was a man who looked like the current living Eckmaster, Sri Doug Klemp, okay? Now, I'm thinking that can't be him because, there's security up. There's looks like FBI, and you have to walk through things to get through into the convention when he does show up on the Saturday evening to talk. So I was like, okay, so what? It can't be him. But I was talking to some guy from I think Australia or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is that the Mahanta? And he goes, I don't know. It kind of looks like him. You should go up and ask him. And I said, okay. I was so excited. I went up to this guy and I said, excuse me. I said, because he was the only person there that had a mask on. And I was like, that's a little sus. So I said, excuse me, are you the Mahanta? And he looked at me and he said, if I were the Mahanta, would you call me Mahanta? And I'm like, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you, So he showed me, he pulled his mask down and he wasn't the Mahanta, okay? In the seminar, you cannot make this stuff up. Sri Harold was talking and he paused his talk. He looked straight into the camera and he said, he's so sweet and gentle. Oh my God, it just tears me up. He's the kindest. So much love. He said, you can call me Mahanta. You can call me Harold. You can call me Sri Harold. I just about answer to anything. And that's the truth of it. And I thought he totally he was there probably. I don't know if he was in his soul travel body, right? But he saw that because that was it's true. You guys call it whatever you will, but know that you're talking to a higher being, okay, of love and light. But truly the Mahanta is a guide that helps you and is pretty much the guide to show you through the inner like none other. And I tell you, I've had experience in 5 religions total in this lifetime, and every one of them was helpful on my path. But my real spiritual progress and the letting go of my karma and such started very seriously once I became an Eckist. Okay, so consider looking into it if this is something that interests you. It's completely it's not a religion. You can be in a religion and still get on the spiritual path. I love it and I'm grateful. Thought I would share this with you. And gratitude is key in anything, whether it's these spiritual travels or simply just improving your life and whatever it is that you're thinking about. Okay.